Absolutely worked out well. Let's talk chance to maybe turn the screws. They landed a couple of good shots, but they just did not follow up on them, and then instead tried to get their foothold back in there once again. It's just landing those shots and making them count. This was really where the damage came right at the start. They managed to get a little bit of damage down. It forced Noble Elite back. And there, the super going off from Maru, your super coming off from Soy de Presa. They get themselves all the free damage they like. Mari popping off in the middle. And it was as simple as you like for Applied Totem. So a quick, easy first set. They're going to be happy with that, especially when they're chasing that third place.
Yeah, you've got to make sure, especially on a day like today, that every single set matters, that every set counts, that you're really picking your brawler comps smartly, correctly, and making sure that you're giving yourself the best possible chance to make that top 4. And we saw yesterday, right, Reply Totem just very, very much in control from start to finish against SK Gaming. They're looking very good today as well, and I'll mention it again that they are in a bit of a tough situation right now. So they are, sitting across from each other, being able to communicate in real time, and I feel like that's got to be helping them on some level, because we're seeing them be so consistent at the moment.
Good on them, because they have absolutely stepped up. It's been quite visible how much they've stepped up that game. We're moving on to Sneaky Phil's next Brawl Ball. Sneaky Phils, we'll see what they're going to bring to the table with Brawl Ball. Obviously, we've seen a couple of brawlers coming through. Probably going to go back to, revert. We've started seeing Nito more and more once again back on the fields of the Brawl Ball, starting to make a stronger impact, as well as a couple of different ones. Obviously, M's been in there. A lot of Barley, definitely coming into the Brawl Balls. And I'm trying to think what else. What am I missing? Gene, of course. Gene, who was ordinarily banned, is available and absolutely could be a big pick.
Yeah, Gene really is a game turner, pretty much in every game mode, more or less. And in Sneaky Fields, you've got that ability as well to remain hidden in the mid. If you have your super and you pull your magic hand ready to go, then where you choose to connect from is kind of anyone's guess. You can get a lot of tanky brawlers as well as Sneaky Fields, like Roses and also Franks, to kind of close the gap and not really, give you any upper hand or warning as to where you might strike from. But great to see both the M's and the Needs, like you said, and the B as well is definitely going to be a good thing for overtime. Barley's as well. Tara on the side of Reply Totem. I like comps on both sides, to be honest. It's going to be quite close.
Well, Mari trying to sneak in there. Obviously, as you say, the difference being the B instead of the Gene. And Soy de Presa getting caught out of position. The ult super comes down. This is a real chance to try and get that cheeky shot in. It should happen, and it will, but it's getting quickly defended. John tries to put it across to Andre. The pass comes through. He's just going to run it on in. You wouldn't ordinarily say Brawl is the ideal brawler to run it in, but he managed to get away with it.
Yeah, in that really difficult spot there where, Reply Totem on defense, Barley can really come into
Look at
his
this
element.
aggressive
And
start.
Bruce to push it all back, Barley's going over the top, and I think maybe a couple more ticks towards Andre having a super, and then Reply Totem are going to really suffer as this last call comes down there. Mari has to get a ball, he has to deflate some of this attention, because at the moment it's going one way.
Bit taken off, and this is going to surely be it. I expect the Bruce Bear to come down. Doesn't matter, Soy de Presa picked off. Which way are they going to go with this one? They do throw down the honey. It's not quite enough. They get the pull in there just in time, and that will slow the attack down. I love what Noble Elite were doing, though, but Reply Totem have handled the pressure well, and now John just defends.
Wow, that was very, very important timing. Reply Totem, because I felt like that was only going to be going one way. Bruce coming in now, gets the takedown on Mari, and the heals are going to come in from that Bear With Me star power straight back into the pocket of John there as it goes on the assault. You can just see how much of a game turner Bruce has become now with the meta in the situation where it is. And I mean, if the score doesn't change, again, the goal is with Noble Elite. It will go their way if Reply Totem do not respond here.
Absolutely, like you say, the reloads, that Bruce Bear coming out is basically burning the ammunition for them. Something that they really don't have enough stock of when they get the respawns, getting pressured back, which is where John is trying to make it work. You can see, Soida Presser tried to hit that super and try and put the pressure down. 10 seconds to go. We need some super play. Mari managed to get the shot off. Mari's going to try and go for the shot through, but the Bruce Bear coming through. The pass. Oh my God! How did he make that work? I've got to look at the replay of that one because I don't even know how the ball made it through.
The timing on that as well, because the game was almost over. It had to have been then or never in this matchup. And that's already a 3 versus 2 here. Great in favor of Noble Elite here, but Mari has got the magic hand. He's looking to connect it or at least pressurize with the idea that he could bring it out at any time. Mari going back as well with his black hole. Everyone is getting into position now, and I feel like momentum is definitely with Reply Totem as they approach the Noble Elite goal.
They're putting the pressure on, looking to get the shots away. Oh, deflected on the line now. Mari trying to look to walk it in. Is he going to have enough hit points? Oh, he got took down. How in the world did that happen? That looked like to all the world he's in, and Melny just caught him on the line.
We all forgot about Melny. I thought Melny had gone down. It was just waiting for his moment. I don't think that's... Oh, super! No, just not enough time. Super did not have super before that moment in time, by the way, so I thought it was a certainty that he wouldn't be able to shoot and score, but oh, that was a lot different to Heist. That was a very back and forth affair, and it's actually going to have to be a rematch, and as the draw was there. With all the action, you kind of didn't almost
look at
expect
this
that it
goal.
would
Let's
be.
have a look. Andre's there, Melny's there, comes across to Maru. Maru gets the shot past Melny. Oh my word. And then again on the line, look at that! The shot from Melny just catches him on the line. He's about to kick the ball, couldn't do a damn thing about it. That would have been Totem picking up the win, but no, it's a tie. And it means we go again. Do we see any changes with the picks? Magic Hand really didn't come into it there, despite the fact Gene was there. If anything, I would say Melny's B was more impactful.
Yeah, I'm a big fan and advocate for B here, honestly, and that last shot, how important was that for Melny to not miss, because that could have gone a very different way. I think that B is a great brawler just to counter a lot of tanks to have for overtime and just really pack a punch. So I think it's a good shout and a good call to have. And but based on what we've seen already, I think that we're not going to see many tanks. I mean, with M's at play and also Bs, I think that you might be kind of giving your team a disadvantage going with that. I do, however, still stand by that Totem Reply Totem have got a really good combo, so they can make it count. If the M's can really focus on the Bruce and get that taken down swiftly, but you can see how much of a difficulty it's going to be for Maru there and Maru otherwise. Sport from Beyond coming in from Maru, and Mari trying to find a little shot on this left-hand side. Defended nicely though.
Seeing if there's any little hole in the defences there. John back out quickly though, with the last call from Andre just to prevent them back in there. That's the pull they were looking for. Get rid of that pesky Nita. John down, and now Andre is going to get picked off on the side if they've got a magic hand available, which it does look like they have. If they can find one on Melny, which is what they're possibly looking for, to try and remove that wall as well in the middle, that would open up the field massively for Reply Totem.
Just gonna be careful here. Yeah, Maru was able to find a really nice timing on that black hole, and again though, without the ball, Reply Totem can't really do much from this. They're gonna have to really use the M's, in my opinion, or try to get a double suck with Tara on members of Noble Elite here. Maru, I think, could have probably committed to that a bit earlier, because now the respawn's going to come in for Melny and still going to leave us 2 versus 3. I think they just kind of committed a bit more aggression and a bit more explosiveness, then they may have been able to get a goal here, but as it stands, kind of picking away at Noble Elite rather than trying to really get this team what they're going to need, or at least get their positioning. I guess going for like the long game approach. They want to stay in the position going into overtime and then trying to capitalise there.
A little surprised by Mari's pull there. He didn't really have any impact tactically. 0 impact on the game. Yeah, you got a kill, but it doesn't matter. They respawned before your teammate even got back. It seemed like he could have held on to that. He certainly wasn't under pressure. Definitely caught me off guard. But anyway, Mario's managed to work out. John goes down once again. Soiderbreast trying to put the pressure down, but the last call will come down. That's kind of missed most of his target. The shot not going to work out. They did manage to get the wall break in there, but still did not manage to get the damage down. And Soiderbreast is doing a great job at defending.
Yeah, really important super there. I would like to have seen more supers actually from Soiderbreast in this matchup, because he's been holding on to them for such a long time, and now in overtime, It's definitely going to be not as advantageous with having less cover available. It will still be very good, don't get me wrong, but with John here making a little play towards the mid, Falper coming in, trying to get some additional shielding onto Bruce. Maru flickering his super, and he's going to be very careful here. He's going to go down eventually. Just Maru, this is surely going to avail now to a goal for Noble Elite.
Has to be passed across, smashed in the net. And that will be the first game of the set going to Noble Elite. They were pressuring, they've been looking at it all the way, and I really go back to questioning some of the play that Reply Tone did there. It was almost like they used the supers just to get a kill, when really there wasn't a tactical impact that they could have made use of. So got to look back at that one, and I'm sure they will do, because obviously, as you mentioned, they're all in the gaming house together at the moment, just having a good old look at a boot camp to figure out exactly where they can improve. But Noble Elite, they know they need a win here. They need 2 wins today to secure their place. And at the moment, they're chasing that first set loss.
I think you basically summed it up perfectly, D-Man. In that moment where when Reply Totem were on the offense, they just weren't really making the most of it. They were just kind of like picking very slowly off one player at a time and then waiting to play the next play after the player had spawned back in. And I think there is a great example of where Ems' super could really have come into play and caused a lot of havoc. You could get a team wipe there with the right moments of just kind of slow down, combined with a lot of the Tara supers, and there was a lot of great cycling of them going on, and there just wasn't really that explosive moment that led to a goal. It really could have gone another way, and I think it's a good credit to Noble Elite for being able to turn it around as they did and seize the opportunity for what it was, because they were given a second chance, in my opinion.
I love the bait on the overtime as well. They put the ball in the corner, said, go and get the ball, get the ball. And then, obviously, as soon as they go for it, well, Andre's like, I'm a barley, mate. You are pinned and dead. There's no way you're getting out of it. So really nice bait, and actually paid off. You know, when you throw out the bait like that and you catch a hook, you got to be happy with it. Let's see what they're going to bring to the table. Noble Elite 1 game up in this set. Of course, Reply Totem still have that set lead. A very different setup now. B, the Carl coming out as well. Oh, and the Sprout. Oh.
So Sprout as well, yeah. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Sprout here. Can be very, very good. Absolutely. But can struggle on defense. I think if Maru really wants, he can go in with a super here and cause a lot of problems for Melny and Andre here. But at the moment, the control of those particular choices of brawlers is what's coming into play and working so well for Noble Elite. But here we see Maru again. He can be a real problem for Melny if he just wants to keep focused on that. Gets a nice takedown on Andre as well. These throwers are going to struggle with a lot of this Reply Totem comp, I feel, as soon as that moment happens and they start to lose control.
Yeah, obviously with the need to change coming in, definitely a strong brawler for this map. Andre focusing at the moment and ignoring Mario on the left. Uh-oh, sorry to press you caught. You're stuck, you're pinned. Andre's going to come in and finish you off. There's nothing you can do about this one. Oh, he does manage to get 1 kill out of it, but oh, you're forgetting about the rest of your team. In comes Maru, spin to win. Super works out wonders, and Reply Totem get a goal.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like Reply Totem have done some fantastic changes. I do feel like Nita is a solid pick and one that they finally adapted over to. But the Carl couldn't have come a better time. Look at Maru here, gonna get some massive value onto Melny and Andre. Andre's the one that gets the takedown, and he was the one that really had to as well, because a Sprout is gonna really struggle with a Carl with that much speed dancing around it. It's just down to Melny though now, and John now coming back from behind just in the nick of time. Mario, though, still going to continue this pressure of the Carl pick, and I think it was a great time to bring in Carl for Reply Totem.
I love John just being chased around the back by Bruce Bear, just having to be put away while the rest of the team went up. Luckily for him, he managed to survive and then come back. And now Reply Totem on the defensive. 35 seconds to keep that ball in the corner there. It's a dangerous position for it. Now we're going to see Mario going in. This is a real do-or-die tactic. Managed to get that boomerang off, and the super goes off again. And John's left on his own. Nothing he can do with this one, as Reply Totem will call him out. 20 seconds to keep the defensive strong.
Mario there. It's like his super went on forever. Really nice defensive plays from Reply Totem, and yeah, it was quite close. Noble Elite there could have genuinely got away with it, but they might even still. No, I don't think they're outnumbered. Andre's not going to even bother trying to get the ball there. Not enough time to be able to make it happen. Great comp choices. Really good decision making from Reply Totem there.
Real good adaptation, reading into not only obviously the barley, which is what they were aiming at, they got the bonus because they got a Sprout in there as well. So, you know, a real counter to them in all. And Maru really making it work out with the Carl there. Obviously can go desperately wrong. for me, there was obviously the biggest mistake was Soyderbresser was stuck in the corner. They focused on him and they just opened up the map to reply to him. That's when the goal came through. And then poor old John, nothing you could do about that in a 2v1 situation. So reply to him even up the set, tied 1 apiece. Now, what adjustments? What adjustments do we make? Definitely not going to be 2 throwers. Maybe 1, but I reckon they're going to ditch the throwers entirely.
They could do that. They could do that. I think that Reply System will stay with Anita. I think that was a good change for them, one that worked out well for them. So they'll probably keep that. I think they've got to get rid of the Sprout 100%, in my opinion. Barley, I don't really mind. We saw in the first matchups like how effective you can get a last call super on, especially if everyone's pushing back onto defense. So they might even go for Carl themselves, but keep the Barley or something along those lines and try to even things up that way. But I feel like they have to have something to kind of herd the action in. They're going to use the Barley to really capitalize on those big spawn traps. But yeah, I don't mind Barley necessarily here. I think it has a place.
Absolutely. We'll see whether they maybe bring out a Rosa. A Rosa get in their face?
It would hurt.
You think? Oh,
it could hurt very nicely.
Maybe
if they bring back the B. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think of like the mind games that are going on, because obviously like the bonuses are all sat together, all discussing it. Okay, should we do this? Should we change that? I love the mind games that comes into it. Brawl Ball for me, and obviously in Siege mode as well, is the two that I really love to see how they can bring to the table. These two teams. For Reply Totem, they need a win here to secure themselves. Well, they will be almost certainly in. 8 wins looks like it's going to be the magic number to get themselves in there. Tied on sets at the moment. They have the best set numbers, so they'd really, even if they get 8, they'd be looking at trying to get a solid win here. A 3-0 would be beautiful for them, and that's what Maru is looking to do. He's going to try and walk this one over the line. Nothing John can do about it. Carl has the hit points capabilities to do that. So great start for Reply Totem.
Yeah, really, really nice there. Mario using the flying hook gadget there just to really advance upon the goal as quickly as possible. And the second one there, so that's 2 done already. And he might not even need the third the way this is looking. If Mario can pass the ball through, and the gap is there. Mario absolutely tying things up so quickly, pretty much as soon as we started.
Just dribbled over the line now. It's one of those shots you're like, is it going to make it? Yes, it has. There we go. Reply Totem make it 2-0 in sets just like that. You know, I wonder why it took them so long after all that. They just come out the gates, absolutely smash it. The changes sort of backfired, and Melny just stuck in the sticky honey. Couldn't do anything about that one, and Maru catching him out. And then again, it's like, just give it Maru. Maru will score. Fantastic stuff there. It's like Harry Kane up front.
We shall see. Yeah, I gotta say, I think Soyderbresser was using M's a lot better that time around. We saw a lot more of him using super behind cover, and it was causing a real difficulty for Noble Elite with that slowdown. But credit to Maru there to finding those moments to really use the flying hook to great effect. That game was over so quickly. Reply Totem, like you rightly said, like was spending so much time in those first early games, and then just to shove it up a gear, and now we are just going and breezing past Brawl.
All right, where do we go next? What is the next stop? Let's have a little peek. It's going to be Ring of Fire, Hot Zone. Johnny Cash coming into action. Let's see what they're going to do with this one. Obviously, we've seen... actually, I would say, if anything, Hot Zone started to just really shake up the meta of late. Obviously, you know, if you think of the brawlers they're going to bring to the table, Ruffs has almost been a staple diet these days. We've seen Frank swinging his hammer around quite a lot. Obviously, the Primo, but that's banned out there. As well as the Jesse. Obviously, Jesse's starting to become a big part of it. I'm just wondering what else they're going to bring to the table, because we're really starting to see quite a few differences. Obviously, Surge has started to play a big part as well, depending on who's actually playing it.
Yeah, Surge is a big pick here for SK Gaming and others like that. Tribe have also used this same idea with the Surge in the lane. I think Rico, for me, is coming back a little bit in Ring of Fire. I mean, I don't want to speak too soon. Bouncy Castle, though, coming into the mix has really brought some healing qualities back, and Rico was always a little bit underutilized, in my opinion. I love the Rico lane here on Ring of Fire, but I feel like Amber Lou is a big one here as well. One of the Hot Zone maps that, for me, really caters to Lou better than most, so... I would be at all surprised to see brawlers like that on both sides, but again, Gene is a great way to turn the game, and one that I always forget about in Hot Zone, it's still viable here, massively so, and it is going to be one that is going to be utilized here by Noble Elite. I like the Crow pick. Totem going to bring in the penny again.
The penny again, yeah.
Yeah, and it can work, but I mean, ultimately, with the gene pools available, that's the thing that I think Noble have got to their advantage with that particular matchup, is that they can focus their attention on the magic hand, pulling the turret through the cover. They will take down the cover and the bush and just continue to shape the map as they please.
I'm not sold on Totem synergy here. We'll see how it works out. Obviously, they got the Sprout in there to try and get the overgrowth down, but yeah, I'm not sold on the penny. I'm assuming he wants to throw the turret in the corner there to just give them that aerial bombardment constantly in there. Of course, the Stew working wonders. We know the Stew can do some great stuff here, and actually some great shots from Sawyer Bressa there onto Melny. So that magic hand not playing a part in this one's very even map right now, but that's what I was talking about. As soon as that turret goes down, Melny will just drag it out the way.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that it was a great time to bring in the gene pick alongside that counter there. But one thing I gotta say though is Totem's comp has got a lot of control-based ideas along with the aggression of Stew. So I do feel like they might be able to pull this one out of the bag, despite there being a lot of area denial and counters to some of the ideas that are being ran by Totem with Noble Elite. It's very close though, 41% on each side, and now Andre just trying to make it just a little bit more so before Melny has to be retreated back as well. John rushing in with a big dash in there from the Crow on the right-hand side, and he's a key component really here into putting the pressure back to bring this into Noble Elite's favor.
Absolutely, Noble Elite starting to get back control of the zone with the help of Andre's super coming through. That freeze just keeping them at bay, but as soon as it ticks off, that's when Reply Turn want to make their move. You'll see where that overgrowth is going to come out from Sawyer Bressa to try and force them back. There it is, gets control, gives them that little bit of defense, and that's a really nice response coming out from Melny. He didn't get the grab, but it does remove the overgrowth, and that's what he was looking for, just to flush them out of that zone. And once again, Reply Turn press back.
This is a great position as well from Noble Elite. I've got to say, Maori is getting a ton of hassle here from both Andre and Melny. Get taken down eventually, and a good connecting shot also onto Sawyer Bressa from Andre. This is really little time now, and I've got to say though, if Reply Totem can just get a couple of these takedowns really quickly, not going to be enough time though. Very nice comp. I got to say that it was the safer comp from Noble Elite going in, and that was the thing that I think was the smart way to approach this game. Totem took a bit of an early risk there.
I wonder if we see the Lu pick being switched in as well, moving away from the Sprout into the Lu, because the Lu definitely works out well here. I like the idea of the Sprout, but as you say, the Gene coming in, it sort of counters it instantly.
Yeah, Gene countering the penny, and I think as well, like Amber would be a good shout if they wanted to consider taking out that Sprout and bringing something in. The penny pick is, you know, it's not the easiest for a lot of the best teams to really kind of deal with. And actually, it's a bit of a disadvantage, especially if you don't cycle your super well enough to really sustain the idea of having that backup on the turret. You know, for me, Reply Totem have got to drop the penny, drop the Sprout as well. Keep the Stew. I think Stew can work really well here, actually. They might want to consider a Gene themselves, but definitely bring in a Lu, possibly an Amber or something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, I would love a Bell mid here myself, but obviously being banned, that's not going to happen. But I think with the bans that there are there, being Buzz, Bell, El Primo on both sides, then that's where I would go with this. I think Sprout and Penny is a bit just too out there.
Yeah, and if you think about how close it actually was, you switch out that penny, maybe keep the others as were, and you're definitely looking at a potential win there, because they took it close as it was, and penny was less than impactful. So let's see what they change up. Here we go, game getting ready to go on your screen. So let's see, it's going to be a Sprout also coming in for John. So full control for Noble Elite. But the changes coming through, the Rico, the 8-bit, this is more like it, going aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see the Rico. I do feel like that. I mean, yeah, and Maru is going to be able to put a ton of pressure on this right-hand side. It's just going to stay in the mix. I think they're considering the use of Gadget, maybe. 61 HP is going to do something. But you can see the difference. There's the Gadget. This is about to cast against the wall there to bring him back up to full health. He was very patient on that one. I'm still not a massive fan of the penny. I'm still not a massive fan of it. But in this position here, with this range now at the disposal of Reply Totem, they're making it work and getting this early lead.
Well, there we go. The freeze coming down from Andre to try and force them off the cap, and it does work out for them. Mario actually getting John down and coming through, gets a second. Can he finish it off with Melny? Doesn't matter because in comes Soida Bressa and Mari, and they do make it work. One down at the moment. This is looking like a much better game for them.
Really is. I mean, it's chalk and cheese, really, isn't it? I mean, they've still got the Gene that can still pull the turret, but Melny's not got super. It can't really get any value to get that wall down. And pretty much now, I think Reply Totem can place down another if they wish. The Sprout pick is kind of a very similar idea from North America as well. We've seen a lot of Sprout being used on hot zone, and in particular, Ring of Fire. It's not my go-to. I just don't see. I mean, it gives you a little bit of cover in the middle, but I just don't really feel like it's one of the best brawlers to utilize, and I kind of just find it kind of interesting that that Noble Elite did swap out that idea, despite it not really working out that well for Reply Totem, who are now with this ranged idea doing so great.
Yeah, I fully agree. It seems a little strange that they bring with the double control. I feel like it's maybe a little too much. While John is getting himself a relative percentage here, it's short-lived. The overgrowth goes down, and in comes the barrage from Mario Mari. And you can see the double combine of the 8-bit and Rico's spam can do some serious work. And right now, all that overgrowth has done is actually give Reply Totem the cover they wanted.
I feel like the range approach there was definitely a really good way to go. I think the penny turret was fortunate because it should really have been dealt with better by Noble Elite. They just kind of ignored it the entire game. Not really sure why. I mean, it's one of those things that you can't ignore. It's going to cause a real problem. And until you get that dealt with, even if there is another one to be cycled in, it will give you the positioning advantage, and then you just got to evade the shots. But it just wasn't really dealt with in any way at all. And
I mean, look at the area that it's covering. There's so much damage it's putting down, and just raining fire on everyone. You cannot ignore it around the corner there. But I gotta be honest, I don't think they had enough control to actually deal with it, because they made the change. I really don't get why they bring Lou and the Sprout together, like one or the other, not both.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, the range there would you've got that coverage there with the Lou. I mean, you've also got it with the Sprout to some extent, but I just feel like Lou is a better call. It is a better shout for me. It's kind of more what we'd expect to see in the EU meta. I mean, some people might say, well, you're biased. You're from the same region. Well, I can assure you that that's completely irrelevant. I like to look for ideas across every region, but I do feel like the EU region does have a better firm grasp on these things, and they are going to keep that Lou and take out the Sprout. That's definitely a good start for me. The penny Sprout from both sides, actually, I think this is probably the best lineup in terms of comps that we've seen so far, and it's going to be Noble Elite on the Rico. They've got to match that same success that we saw from Reply Totem with it, because, again, I think it's a very underrated pick on Ring of Fire.
Andre just trying to stop them going in at the moment. It's more just buying time than anything, but Mari's like, you know what? You're about to time out. I'm going to walk in and get a couple of percentage, just trade blows. Mari does the same, goes back in and out. In goes Mari. It's a nice little trade back and forward, and finally Noble Elite get some toes on the zone, but only very little. 3% is all they could pull out of that one.
Well, we've seen John on Rico before, and he can do some spectacular things. I think that he would be a key component in turning this one around. Mari frozen on the middle, and some follow-up shots from Andre will connect also. So Bressa's got a couple of stacks there, but got to be careful on that low HP there to keep hold of them. No doubt running probably Served Ice Cold. That's pretty much the go-to method for Surge in terms of star power. But nonetheless, though, you still want to keep those stacks as high as possible and stay alive for your team to continue the pressure on. As John goes down, nicely taking care between Mario and Murray there. But the score definitely in favor of Reply Totem, and they are well on the way to taking this so far with only 40% left.
Yeah, Melny missing the hand on Soida Bressa there. Didn't really help him out. And finally, Noble Elite getting a couple of boots on the ground and getting a little bit of coverage. They've finally put that freeze a little bit further forward. John catching out. Mari goes aggressive and it backfires. But look at Mari and Soida Bressa coming from behind, locking out that zone. Absolute domination from Reply Totem here. Looking to make it 3-0 on the match point. There's the pull they've been looking for all game long, but is it too late?
Well, Mariette's going to jump in and affect all of this down there. That's a lot of damage over time there from the Crow. And then there's going to be a loose super down there just going to freeze themselves because they can just try to evade these shots as Soida Bressa just comes in basically ice skating around, getting these shots landed on 1%. It's what's left. Mario's be the one to take it, and Reply Totem have done it and have beaten Noble Elite.
Brilliant performance, some 3-0 as well in the sets. It could well be a huge set difference. It puts them on that magical 8-0-6, which almost certainly puts them into the finals right now. So fantastic stuff from Reply Totem. A great turnaround for the team as well. They really invested in making sure they got those wins over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you can just see how seriously they're taking the competition as well by going on this boot camp and making sure that they're going to give themselves the best possible chance. And it's been just great to watch them grow and learn from their mistakes and continue to enhance their own abilities in game. It's been great to watch them play.
Yeah, I'm just looking back at like the games they had. Obviously, they had the big game with Na'Vi, the 3-2. And then they had that massive matchup with EXO Free Agents that went down to the very last second. They ended up losing that one 3-2. And then they sweep SK aside and they've swept through now. And it really has been a growth, I feel, that we've seen from Reply Totem over the ESL Mobile Challenge. Fantastic stuff. They look to be a team that has gone through. The question is, who will be joining them? It's going to be Noble Elite up against SK Gaming coming up next.
This totem. I'm a very big fan. I know you can do this, Totem. I'm sure you can do this. I love your gameplay. I know you can do this. You can do this, Totem.
Playdays 3 and 4 gave us a glimpse of your true potential. You defeated Na'Vi, you defeated Big Clan, and you put up a really good fight against Tribe at the time. How realistic is achieving top 4 for you now?
I think it's quite difficult to say. Like, all of these teams are on such a high level, and we showed in the second week, as you said, that we can also beat teams on this level. And I think, as you can see from the standing as well, all the teams are very close by each other, and for everyone it's a tough competition, and everyone wants to get to top 4. I wouldn't say that it's super realistic we get into top 4, but I also wouldn't say it's unrealistic at all. I think still for every team they can achieve top 4. You just have to win basically everything there is, and then we get into top 4. So yeah, I think we can achieve this, but we really need to try hard and show our performance as in week 2, yes, and continue this performance now in week 3 and 4.
Your team in general have pretty much ruined a lot of the predictions from the casters and the audience as well, left, right and center. And we don't know what to expect from you now. Can you tell us exactly what your biggest strengths are?
Yes, as I said in the last time, one of our biggest strengths is when it comes to picking comps and the understanding of comps and maps. And I gave a lot of this credit to myself, but of course I deserve credit for this, but I would also like to credit the other players, because it's not only me doing comps. We are always in VC talking to each other about what could happen next and how we could react to those picks, like that we think they could pick next. And also our analyst and our manager are doing a lot of the work behind the scenes, so it really takes a lot of the pressure away from the team, so the team can just focus on playing. And I think having a great staff and a great team chemistry overall is like also what sets us apart from a lot of the other teams.
ESL Mobile Challenge is brought to you by DHL and Pay Safeguard.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to ESL Mobile Challenge. I'm Lee Demon Smith, and joining me is Lethal for this one as we look to move on. Reply Totem, though, they look like they might have done it, Harry. It looks like they've just about pulled enough in.
I feel like they have as well, yeah. Noble League did have a game in hand. They had to play the first 2 matches of the day. It's the opener to finish off play day 8, or just finish off the play days just overall. Not something they wanted. They definitely gave it their damnedest, but it just wasn't enough, as Reply Totem have been looking so good, like ever since yesterday as well, especially, and they're continuing to come up that momentum strong today.
Yeah, I mean, their 3-0 yesterday against SK, that was like just a big marker, in honesty. You know, when you think about it, especially when they're a team that go into the finals and almost certainly are going to be facing off against the likes of Clash or SK, probably in one of those games, you know. They're looking to be third place team. SK and Clash are looking likely to be first and second, or like it's a shoe-in. There's nobody else that can beat them because there's just not enough games left. So the fact that they've already had that 3-0 win over SK is definitely a confidence booster going into next week.
Just the fact that it was 6 games in a row, I still can't go over just what happened yesterday. It was, I feel like SK weren't themselves, but Totem were just playing how they usually play, like, you know, very fast, aggressive, you know, showing a lot of, you know, flanking and individual ability, like everything is coming together for them here. And I'm glad that we haven't seen any of those inconsistencies like from 6 to 8 weeks ago leading up to this moment, because this could be their, you know, one of the very few chances they can win the entire thing, we'll have to say.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff. And as if to amplify the point, I think we've got Inso on the line, hopefully, available to have a chat with us. How you doing, buddy? Congratulations. It does appear so far it looks like you're in. It could be going down to sets, but we don't know. But it looks like you're looking like you may well have made the finals.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, I think this win was like a must win, and now we have to hope for other teams to sort of like lose or drop some sets, and we should be fine.
Yeah, I was going to ask just a quick question about yesterday rather than what occurred today, as Demon already explained. But, you know, in terms of when you played against SK Gaming, of course, that wasn't a score you didn't expect. Like, you know, I don't think anyone did really. But how did you manage to beat them back-to-back in so many games? I know it's quite a generic question, but was there anything you were feeling in between? Do you feel like SK were just feeling a bit inconsistent, where they're just not playing the same as they used to? Tell me a little bit more about what happened in that series against SK yesterday. Giving a thumbs up as well, it's all good.
We're at the boot camp, so I think that for sure gave us a boost, and that's the first time we played together offline, you know, so we found some great synergy, and as always, I mean, we tried to win the games, and finally we managed to beat SKE. I'm not really sure about like their performance. I think they played really well, honestly, but we just managed to win the games, and it was really close. Like, we won 3-0, but most of the matches were super close, and both teams could have won it.
Let's keep the focus on that game. Let's talk about Buzz, baby, because Buzz was the key word for that game. Caught SK napping, it seems, but nobody else has seemed to touch it since.
Yeah, I mean, today they also banned the Buzz in our game, so I think we sort of like showed that it's a great brawler, but I don't know, like, we didn't really practice it, so we just tried, and I guess we surprised SK with our picks and our comps, and yeah, we managed to win the game.
That's going to be it, I think. I was going to ask one more thing just beforehand, because I'm glad you did actually mention about, you know, how it was against SK. But, you know, you said they played really well anyway. You must have played out of your skulls, like, in comparison. This boot camp, just one more question regarding it as well. Are you going to be keeping up with this boot camp until next week, or are you going to be boot camping longer for any other competitions as well in total? But I assume you're going to be there together for at least another week leading up to the ESL Mobile Challenge finals.
I mean, that's a good question. To be honest, I'm not sure, because it's still like an expensive thing to do, and with all these online sort of like tournaments and all the COVID restrictions, it's not that easy to travel for all of us. So I hope Totem and Reply will keep giving us these opportunities, and I think we showed that it's helpful, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. It's great to see, obviously, you know, a lot of people who look at mobile gaming and say, well, you can do it anywhere. But no, absolutely, boot camps definitely work. The communication that you guys clearly have shown since you've been there has paid off. So congratulations once again. It does look like you're there, but keep your eyes peeled because there's a couple more games to go that could decide otherwise. Big and EXO free agents will have a big say in that one. So
I'll give a bit of a wave back as well.
great to see the
Yeah,
team
that's-
there. Great to see them in good spirits.
That's Mara, by the way.
Well, thank you very much. Let's
Thank
move
you
on
very
to
much,
the next
guys.
game.
Mate.
So coming up, we're moving on to obviously Noble Elite, who, well, unfortunately for them, it looks like they maybe can't make it through now because it does put them on 7 losses. Of course, you know, we just saw Andre, John, and Melanie in action there, losing out to Reply Tournament. Now they're up against SK Gaming. It's definitely going to be a tough old task for them.
Yeah, I do feel it's a real shame, though. I think Noble Elite, considering what we predicted of them and knowing that they almost managed to qualify, they've put on a great performance and they should be really pleased themselves because they've worked, you know, a huge amount, put a lot of time into this to try and be able to excel enough to get into that top 4. But they were so close. But of course, you know, a lot of these top names, you'd expect them, you know, in terms of predictability, be in this challenge finals here, and SK are here to solidify it. So we'll be looking at Noble Elite where they haven't really got anything to gain anymore, and SK have got nothing to lose really, as we're just looking at the maps as well with Factory Rush starting things off. That's going to be a fantastic way to kick things off for SK, as it will be going to Gen 4 straight afterwards, Shooting Star, Super Stadium, and Split. And, you know, pretty much the same bands that SK makes every single time. And Noble Elite, we've seen those bands quite a few times as well, with the Primo, the Bell, the Amber, and the Ems.
Yeah, and we've talked about it so many times. We know that Siege can be one of the strongest modes that SK Gaming have in their locker, but, you know, yesterday was a big surprise for them, for everyone involved, I think. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see how they react. I always feel that, you know, when you see a great team go down so hard, that you should be fearful of the next game that they have, because it may well be a pretty fierce backlash. Of course, the fact is that they are qualified. So, you know, foot off the gas could just simply be the case for them. And they're taking this one a little bit more chill.
Yeah, and also, so just going back to the interview earlier with Totem, if I was in their position and we had, you know, some fantastic series, or we've, you know, got a lot better over time than last week, I'd be staying there. I'll be staying there till the end of next week. I'll be like, I'm not moving from this spot until this challenge finals is over. Just a little bit of a surprise for me, really, as I thought they'd be staying there till the end of the week, but they're not too sure.
Yeah,
but do you know what? After what just happened in terms of the circumstances, they might actually stay. We'll have to see. I'm sure we'll get an update from them eventually, nonetheless, leading up to those challenge finals, if they qualified, of course. But yeah, SK, they need to take I wouldn't say they're too angry about yesterday. I think they're right, though, in terms of what Inso said. Totem, they played very well against them, but SK may want to try and not rectify the mistakes, but just trying to regain a little bit of their pride and their confidence coming into this last matchup for them. Last matchup for Noble Elite as well. As you can see, Melanie and John are just put it in that left lane already. Andre does take out one. Jet has taken a fair amount of damage, but so does John. So John could try and make something of this, but he could not, as Jetton does take him down, and that is going to be quite an early start here for the side of Noble Elite.
And that's exactly what the Piper wanted. Remove that cover. Scarix making it work well. And it's going to be a pretty darn solid defense here. Not a scratch on the SK Ike. And now we'll see how this continues. Obviously, both using the double stews in there, the double, I was about to say the double recos, but it's not the reco and the Lou. I'm a little surprised by the Lou. I mean, it is a defensive, obviously, what they're looking at. Whereas SK, no defensives. Ordinarily, maybe see a Lou or a Sprout or just something like that, but they're full on aggression. It's not paying off for them. They're not picking up. And I've got to be honest, I think they're not picking them up on purpose right now. They are avoiding the bolts. They could have picked them up plenty up there and just did not choose to.
Yeah, some people would say, like, maybe back in the day, it's, you know, quite a clever play to do. But nowadays, it's just common sense, really. They're trying to make sure they can get this final button, make sure it's an absolute doozy here. It's been a real struggle for them to get any damage done. And I think a level 7 or 8 bot's not going to make as much difference as a 6 or anything like that. So, you know, just trying to make sure they can get as much of an advantage as possible for the next one. So at least that way, with SK Gaming. Either they'll
gotta
cushion
get
the
'em
blow or
first.
be able to overtake them. Exactly. So you can see Noble Elite do have a 3-bolt lead. Jeton and Skyrix trying to do the best of their ability to regain map control. Semantic's not going to help too much, though, as he does get taken down. Numbers advantage again for Noble Elite, and Jeton's being kept really far back. And Skyrix are trying to make something happen, but they just can't do anything here, D-Man.
Yeah. Hello. You kind of screwed that up. Didn't get the bot, did you? That didn't play out exactly how you wanted it, and that has absolutely backfired on SK Gaming. And that will be Noble Elite taking the first game. You know, when you take such an overconfident approach, they were avoiding the bolts. They were not picking them up, but it was right in front of Skyrix, and he didn't step on it. It just went, nope, not taking it. They were planning for that final last siege bot, and they did not get enough bolts.
They're known for their map control on Siege. That's why I was a little bit gobsmacked with how the scenario just occurred overall for Noble Elite, because they played really, really well. And the problem is on a map like this, especially when you're pushing around as a Wolfpack, together as a team, it's very, very tough to be fully aware on where your opponents could be, because they might be prioritizing angles rather than going in the Wolfpack themselves. But they did that beautifully in comparison.
Yeah, definitely seemed a little off there. Let's see what sort of changes they could bring to the table. We know Skyrix loves his surge. It's a possibility it could work well on this map setup as well, and it's obviously something that works. The Rico, we were just talking with Ark about the Rico. Rico's definitely a strong brawler right now, coming into the meta, is starting to be ever more prevalent across, especially on Siege mode. Definitely works so well on there. In such a close map, a Frank is a possibility, and it's not beyond the realms of possibilities that SK could pull it out, because they have absolutely done that a bunch of times in the past. And we've talked about Siege so many times. There is a bunch of availabilities for them, obviously, as well. The Sprout possibly in there. We know that Noble Elite is still bringing the loot to the table. I just got a glimpse of it there, along with the Stew as well and the Gene. So they're staying as is. The Gene is the change, along with the Stew for SK Gaming. So almost match them like for like.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't keep the Stew and actually switch the Rico out for the Gym, but we'll see how this is going to work out as Jeton just caught with his trousers down a couple of times in that left lane. Melnino still trying to stay alive on the left side as well, but John does manage to support, but not going to support for long as Skyrix takes him out instantly, but it's not going to change the fact that Noble Elite will get that first spot heading to the way of SK Gaming. So they'll be able to defend this with relative ease, but at the same time, Semantic trying to help towards map control at the exact same time. Just the entire team just trying to be as proactive as possible, because they don't need to really take too much damage here. Semantic's still trying to stay alive, but not for long, as Melanie takes him down and gets a bolt to his name.
Yeah, tried to get a heal, tried to sneak himself around there, but at the moment the bolts are working well for Noble Elite. They are gaining full map control once again in the middle, and this is exactly what they want. There's the freeze going down just to lock them out of that zone, but it's still very close in terms of bolts. 4, 5, 6 seconds. I think it's going to be Noble Elite once again. Semantic does a great job avoiding the magic hand, but the simple good fact is Noble Elite have the control and they get themselves another bot.
Oh, SK actually got the pull in, but Jean managed to just take him down anyway and inflict more damage onto Jeton. But look at this push coming in so far. SK Gaming haven't picked up not a single bot in the last 5 in this series. And it's not something you'd expect, really. Yeah, sure, fair enough. They were playing a bit greedy in the towards the last bot in that first game, but they tried to play it in their favor, but it just did not work. Semantic now trying to make this work with the Stew in that right lane. As you can see, Melanie also trying to do as much damage as possible to keep them away. Skyrix is still helping out Jeton, but Skyrix at the same time not really able to do a huge amount. But now, as I said, that does take down John is able to recover, but both Jeton and Skyrix can't really bait and switch with each other at the moment, because they were both very similar HP. And that was beautiful shots there from Jeton. And finally, SK do bag their first spot, and it will be the last in this game, and we're going to see what they can do to defend this as much as possible.
And this is the problem, right? You're coming up against the loser. They can throw that freeze down. 10 seconds to go to get, 50% of damage down. Semantic's going to get around the side and get some shots off. The bot, 4 seconds. He's not going to get close enough. SK Gaming may well have thrown this one away, and they absolutely have. They left it to the last minute, and they just didn't count on the fact that Lou is right there with a super and he can stop it. That's why you bring a Lou, that's why you bring a Sprout. And SK Gaming, they tried exactly the same trick. They says, okay, we'll wait until that last bot, get that big, strong last bot, that big, long, strong charge, and it just didn't work on them. And Noble Elite find themselves 1-0 up.
Yeah, some plays were debatable, and I do apologise at the start, but did actually have to stew. It was the Piper they switched around instead.
yeah.
That's why I was like, okay, why have they switched to Stu out? But yeah, it makes sense as to why they didn't have to Stu, just getting rid of the Piper, which is fair enough, because in terms of the projectile prediction, it's very, very difficult considering the range he's got to play at. Even though it's quite open space, they're just abusing the map structures so well. But I must say, Noble Elite winning that first set, I'm pretty sure no one kind of expected it, and it sounds like SK is still on that downward spiral.
Yeah, I could see what they were trying to do, but they just didn't execute it very well, which is very unusual for SK Gaming themselves. But it does mean we're moving on to Gem Fort next, which is a map they are absolutely strong on. And, you know, we're talking about SK Gaming on Siege. They just lost. They just got 2-0 swept. And we're moving on to Gem Fort, another map that they are strong on, but definitely going to have to make changes here to see how this works. Obviously, we just saw 2 Genes. I'm pretty much expected to see that again. On Gem Fort, we have seen Max starting to claw back into it as well, which is a possibility. The Tara and the Ems was banned out, so Tara's a probable to come in here.
I'm just thinking whether SK are just saving everything now leading up to the finals. I just don't think... Look, they could be taking it seriously, don't get me wrong, but just playing as standard competitive Brawl Stars as possible.
If
just not putting anything out here.
If you think of how they qualified, right? You think of the original ladder. They did the absolute minimum to get through. They actually ended up being in 7th because the last day tended to be a bit of a crazy one on play-ins 1. And they came through 7th in it, which actually threw the seeding completely out. And then obviously they just swept through. Once it got to knockout, they absolutely obliterated the opposition, Clash included. They swept them out of the way. First one's through, no problem there. Obviously, we know that EXO free agents were at the top of the table, so technically they were the first in. But SK, in terms of the play-ins, they blitzed it through. So we know they can do it when they're under the pressure. And I just feel, you know, there is no pressure right now. They're already qualified. They're just having a bit of fun. But they've got to be careful because that's a dangerous mentality to bring into it. And it is as expected, though. A Stu, a Gene, and a Tara on the side of SK Gaming. And... wow, the Jesse. Okay. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that, Melanie. Andre and, of course, the Crow on the John.
Yeah, Andre on the 8-bit there at the bottom center. Melanie will be trying to give him a helping hand on Semantic. Semantic doing a great job here. Just doing a huge amount of damage, just keeping everyone on Noble Elite at bay on that backside. But now the aggression will continue from John. You can see there, just trying to hide in that left lane to see what he can do. But he may be caught. Oh, he's trying to get the jump in, but it's not going to happen. The Skyway does clean him up beautifully. That was perfect execution there to make sure that John did not push any further into that left lane. But Semantic looking to do the same thing. You can see on that bottom left-hand corner. And you can see also John did manage to find him, but Semantic has backed away to do his absolute best to recover with SK Gaming up by 3 gems.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about the way Noble Elite are playing this one. They're basically trying to take control of the mid and absolutely giving up both left and right sides, which was giving it up to Semantic. John's finally gone out there, but as you can see, not exactly in control. But this is now sort of fallen into the realms of what they were looking towards. Oh, that was tight, and Melanie is going to get picked off. That black hole working well, and now Andre can't get across. Semantic's just going to come and hoover up the gems, hoover up the brawlers as well. Semantic is gone, hit and run, and SK Gaming are out of there.
Yeah, he's like, cheers, thank you very much. I'll be collecting those nicely whilst I've taken you down and got pure numbers advantage right to the very ends here. Andre, I tried to make the best of a bad situation, but it's just not going to be enough. That was well played from SK Gaming. It's like I said before, we're not seeing their true potential for obvious reasons, but still managed to keep Noble Elite as far back as possible. So good way to clean up and get those gems at the end.
Yeah, I was very concerned about Noble Elite's tactic. They were clearly looking for the full mid control, which they had, in fairness. And yes, they had the gem control, but they were giving up the flanks. Like, as soon as John goes down on the left side here, they have nothing. They had no control. You know, John tried to go out there with the Crow, didn't really work out for him, and then Semantic absolutely tears through them. And obviously, always the bonus with the Stu is you can just avoid and mitigate the damage, and that's why Stu is often the gem carrier, along with the Gene. So fantastic work from their SK there. What sort of adjustments? I was surprised to see the Jesse on Gem Fort. I may well see that one change.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. He didn't get a lot of value out of it either. The question is, does he want to maybe continue using her and then be able to work something different, or just change completely in terms of composition? I wouldn't blame him if he did make the change for something else entirely. I feel like John on the Crow wasn't bad either. Just got, caught a few times on a few occasions in a 1v2. He tried to overextend enough times. Sometimes overstayed his welcome. He was just trying to get a couple of members of SK Gaming away from the center lane, but then again, SK Gaming were just like, well, you're more than welcome to do that, but we're not moving. We're literally just going to stand our ground, not give you any kind of chance here. As Semantic now and John once again fighting in that left lane for map superiority here. Andre in the center as well, just going to be helping John a little bit as Semantic's taking a huge amount of damage and is pushing Andre all the way back into the center. And John just on the other side as Semantic just manages to stay alive. Not too sure how long for here, but he's done a good job just making sure he can recover from that last engagement.
Yeah, really liking the angles that John was using there to find exactly what he could, but Skyrix just goes into Andre's face, takes him down. John round the back. Well, it's great if your team's there, but when they're not, you're kind of useless around the back there, and if anything, you're just putting them a man down, so that puts them out of position, and, well, 7 gems to the good already. I'm surprised to see they didn't go with the Stew myself here. It seems to be certainly a brawler, if you remember back in the day, and even still a while ago, has just been banned so many times, and there's a reason for it, because Stew is strong, and SK Gaming look to be closing this one out in style.
They certainly are. Semantic just sitting there in the center to see, just to feed his teammates information on where they're going to come from, just to guarantee this victory. And I must say, that was very, very impressive. You saw John switch to the Rico as well. Didn't even help as much compared to the Crow. I think he feels like that he put himself in too many bad situations the first game. Second game, it wasn't as bad. He did a bit better in terms of damage infliction, but apart from that, nothing really enough in terms of value to be able to put any more pressure onto SK. So that was very clean in comparison to that first time round. And SK definitely warming up in this series.
Yeah, this is the SK we were expecting to see, right? Just sweep through, dominate in very quick style there. The double hand grab, you love to see it. Skyrix managed to come out on top, had the support, and then, of course, they're just tunnel vision. They just focus in. And, well, John, you can do what you like. I do like a Rico pick, but I just feel Stu may well have been a better option there. So maybe just a simple brawler choices that not quite paying off for Noble Elite. Now, it means we're moving on. We're going on to Shooting Star, the bounty map next. So obviously going into bounty, we know what they could bring with to the table here. On Shooting Star, I'm trying to decide what they're going to bring to the table here. Generally, obviously, a pipe comes into it. Well, I don't need to think. We're going to see it. We're going to see it. I don't even need to think. These boys are shooting through. On Shooting Star, and okay, so the Nanny, yeah, okay, the Piper's coming in, expected. The Brock once again coming out from Jetten there. This is something we've seen. By the way, he's moved away from Goten back to Jetten. I like to see it. Thank you very much for getting your name back right. That's maybe forced upon him. Who knows? Melny bringing the tick out as well as John.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. You know, with SK, you don't really see SK play a lot of tick, do you? They always seem to play the Piper, the Brock, and the Nani. Sometimes not Brock, sometimes it can be something a little bit different, but they like to prioritize the Brock over the tick because, again, they could be the ones to dictate the pace of the game in terms of having that the aggressive approach coming into this matchup. They don't want it to sit back and have to dilly-dally about half the time. But as we say that, though, sometimes it can be the right thing to do. Andre already got the first kill as well as that blue star. Melny gets Skyrix as well. And they were trying to finish off John there, but it's just not going to happen. So a little bit of a surprise there with that Leon. And now Samantha and Jetten just trying to stay alive until Skyrix can come out. Skyrix actually taking down Melny in the end. And John's pushing all the way up here. He's actually on the left lane. Do they even know he's there? I'm not too sure if they do. I'm quite surprised they do not, but at the same time, it's very difficult. You can see that he's just waiting to buy his time. He does get found. Jetten takes him down as now all 3 members got the numbers advantage. Looking to continue this aggression. Semantic takes down Melny as well. And this is what I mean about this composition. It's very hard to deal with if you're the ones who need to make the final engagement.
Yeah, from a 5-0 to a 9-5, but that is almost turned it back in their favor. The Blue Stars still in the favor of SK Gaming. They're waiting for their player to respawn. The pressure coming on. John trying to get Jetson down, but out go the Rockets. And Meldy now all alone realizes his goose is cooked, and SK Gaming take themselves the first game of the set on Bapti.
I must say, I do love that composition from SK. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the tick, and especially got a tick on either side. It's like, right, okay, when's the last 15 seconds going to occur, depending on the circumstances of that matchup overall leading up to those final moments. Because it's SK don't want to be that team where they look for an opening tick exploit throughout the entire game, and then when the countdown starts and things get a little bit jittery, they need now to push with a disadvantage in terms of the damage they have to consume and tank whilst pushing up onto them. It's really, really annoying. But at least with this composition, they can speed up, you know, the process of this matchup a little bit faster rather than having to wait all that time. Because yes, you've got to be very aware of what their tick is going to do, what they're going to be up to, where he's positioned, and what lane's probably better for you as a whole to then push on up onto either side. But, you know, at least with the Brock, it gives them a bit more leadway to push on up against Noble Elite. And you saw that at the halfway stage. And you damn well know that if they had the tick instead of the Brock, we would have waited much, much longer for that execution.
Yeah, I mean, Tick's great at herding, basically. He's a herding brawler. You'll slowly force them back, stop you pushing on yourself so you can't push into the mines, of course, and then just slowly but surely maybe push you into a corner and make it work. Whereas SK were just like, we're going to use maximum range, we're going to punish you if you come near us, and that's really how it works. And Jetson, you see coming straight away, getting that wall break in there, trying to prevent Melny from standing behind that wall and being that defensive unit. Leon coming back out once again for John. I'm somewhat surprised at that. I was expecting that to be the change, but they actually chose to say, you know what, we're going to stick the same and go with what worked, what almost worked actually for them. But as it is, all they've got is the Blue Star to answer for at the moment.
That's right, indeed. SK Gaming, though, they get the first kill earlier on, which means they have a slight lead. It's going to be very close between the two, but you know what SK Gaming are like? They won't be sitting back at all in the slightest, especially with this composition. They're going to go try and make something work, and it's not helped them in their favour. Andre does manage to help Noble Elite get the lead by 1 star, and Jetson being backed off by John. He's pushing up that Leon very, very quickly. Jetson taking a little bit of damage. Had to use his super early just to stop this aggression, just put it under control. But the shots coming out from Andre have been so good with that Nani. Definitely keeping SK on the back foot.
Yeah, and at the moment, it's SK that have got to press the game, which is dangerous for them, because pressing into that tick, that's what we're talking about. You like, it's great as a defensive brawler at the moment and a herding, and at the moment, that's exactly what Noble Elite are doing. They've got to get onto Melny, and Melny is doing a fantastic job of just keeping them at arm's length at the moment. 25 seconds to go. This is go time. And this is where they need to really try and push it and put the pressure down.
Certainly will indeed. 20 seconds left remaining. SK need to make this push, but this is what I was talking about before. They have to force themselves into a bad situation here, and this is where the push is going to come in. 10 seconds there. They haven't taken a huge amount, but it looks like they can see what's going to occur now. John just in that left lane. Skyrix is almost cleaned up. Actually takes him down in the end. And SK are going to take this and take the set here, D-Man. That was not what I expected for the finish.
No, they just landed the shots and said, thank you very much, we can just walk away now. Now it's on to you to chase us. And the problem is that Noble Elite brought the comp, which was great at herding, but not very good at chasing. So as soon as they lost that advantage, they were screwed. There was nothing they could do about it. And then you're basically pushing into almost open fight there. And Skyrix coming out in the end there. I don't know how he managed to survive with next to no health, but nonetheless, we move on. That was quick and painless for SK. It does put us on to Super Stadium, which is a brawl ball that they are absolutely fantastic on. Super Stadium, and for SK Gaming, they're one of the teams that I don't really know what they're going to bring out, because they have brought full brawler comps in the past to Super Stadium, as well as like throwers, a lot. I really don't know what they're going to bring to the table. Which is also a big problem for Noble Elite here, who are looking at the end of possibly a disappointing season for them, I think, at the end. You know, that to come so close and to just fall short is a bit disappointing for them, I've no doubt.
Well, I suppose it's why SK are one of the best in the business in terms of being in this region for Brawl Stars. It's very hard to predict what kind of composition they could come out with. But like I said, they've got nothing to lose, really. So in terms of what they could bring absolutely anything in this one. It could be something as standard as possible. It could be something where it's actually not very good, but just trying to throw people off, watching back the VODs here and see what SK get up to in some of these game modes, or just trying to nitpick at little things that SK might play in the future, maybe in the challenge finals. But Noble, you know, I'm surprised we've even taken a set considering what we've seen from them so far. And I feel like SK are just, you know, not really going full pelt in this series, just trying to give as much breathing room as possible, but not too fast if they maybe even lose the series. But at the same time, they want to try and show enough confidence as possible going into the challenge finals. But in terms of composition, it's going to be difficult to kind of guess. Maybe a Gene, it could be something else, and it could be a few other bits and pieces. It's very, very hard to kind of determine what they want here, especially on a map like Super Stadium. And with Noble Elite so far, they're going to be pretty, you know, annoyed of the situation they was in, especially in that last game in the last set, just due to the fact that they were very close to taking it. They've had the early lead every single time, even with the blue star. They were very good at being the aggressor, but just couldn't throw SK off no matter what composition they had.
Yeah, and the reason I mentioned, say, SK could bring brawlers out, bruisers out, because they always ban away the M's. It's Amber and M's has kind of been their go-to bans as of late. And that suits it, obviously. With removing the M's, it suits those bruisers to come in. And when they've done that, I kind of expect it. Oh, hello, Buzz is here. Semantic, missing it straight away. This is kind of what I was considering out there. We do have the double Nitas, the Sprout, and the Barley coming out for Noble Elite here. But the Buzz bringing to the table. Interesting to see SK bringing that one out. Skyrix, though, in trouble. And this is looking like a potential goal already for Noble Elite. They're going to push forward and put the pressure down. Semantic, the only man there. Andre was just trying to get the bounce to try and get that ball in the corner, looking to get that last call out, and that's going to really pin them in. And there's the Sprout going down, and you are absolutely pinned. Last call comes out. Noble Elite trying to wreck SK in their goal, but they've done a very good job of surviving.
I was just about to say, Sprout and Barley are only good if all your opponents are on spawn and you keep them trapped like that. And that was literally the only time. Apart from that, this is going to be a very slow but squishy composition. So a bit of dodging and weaving here and there and some good strategic aggression should be able to shut this down. And look at that, Semantic just going straight in with the buzz. That was beautiful from Semantic, and he scores it as well. And this is what I'm talking about. This composition is very, very squishy, and Andre and Melanie needs to be very careful of how they want to, you know, approach this in terms of the offensive. FL, you know, trying to keep Skyrix back, or be careful with Semantic, especially with the buzz as well, because it can counter it quite a lot, especially with Andre and Melanie. This is a great example. Look, pulls himself straight in, almost takes them both out here. Melanie almost got cleaned up. John takes a lot of damage as well, and I'm a little bit worried for Noble Elite.
Yeah, and I mean, it really, it's no different to sort of the elbow coming in. Obviously, you're not getting the smash on you, but you are getting a bruiser in your face instantly, just like that once again, and it's causing him so many problems. He gets onto John as well, and it buys all the time for the rest of your team to absolutely murder you. Bruce Bear comes out from Jet, nothing he can do about that. He's caught out, but the ball in the corner, 30 seconds to go. There's the pull. Skyrix just keeping the spawn separated. Now Semantic in their face. All they got to do is keep them pinned.
But this is the problem. It's very difficult with his composition to be aggressive. It really, really is. And they know that. SK know that. So they're just getting in their face every single time and just making them run about everywhere. The ball's in the right lane, but I don't think they're going to get much further. 5 seconds left. That's going to be it, especially if Skyrix has got it as well and put it straight into the corner. And yeah, from the very get-go, I was a little bit skeptical, thinking that composition was a bit debatable, especially what they were up against as well. So it's good having like one thrower, but when you've got two throwers like that, okay, when you're on the offensive and you kept them pressured on spawn, that's fine. Apart from that, that's going to be it. And that's exactly what you saw at the start.
It was so close as well. You got to feel for Noble Elite because they really did pin them back very well. This was looking great here. Andre was just looking to get that super off, and he kind of kept the pin there, but they didn't get the kills they were looking for. And that enabled SK Gaming to start to roam free, start to get comfortable in the composition. You know, these are really the first sort of comps outside of scrims and practices coming in with the buzz. You know, this is the first real time we're seeing SK really putting it to the test. And it's great to see. We know the pressure that you can apply. It absolutely paid off there, especially when you bring a Barley. You know, a Barley used to be and is very critical on here, but bringing double throwers when you've got a buzz in your face, that's a problem.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the buzz, I was like, "Oh no, it's gonna happen, isn't it?" Because they're both so squishy, and that's the problem you see with having two throwers in that composition. You've got to play it in a very calculated manner, and when you've got a buzz who can just go straight in your face like that, what can you do really? The only thing you can do is make sure you've got support with one of your players who can at least stand with you. If you're way too spread out, it's going to be very, very tough and very difficult. So the question is, are one of them going to switch out from the Barley or the Sprout, or that's the next thing is, will SK keep the buzz? I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because they'll probably make the assumption that Noble it may keep at least one thrower just to cause a little bit of havoc there, especially in the center, depending on the circumstances. Yeah, but we'll have to see. Look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll see whether they do make the adjustments. Almost certainly one of the throwers are going to go away. I suspect probably Sprout would go away. They maybe keep the Barley in there, because it kind of almost worked. If they'd have had a little something to back it up. The last call can be massive, certainly on Super Stadium, so we'll see whether they do want to change away from that one. Or, as can be the case quite often with SK, we see them completely change their composition just to keep us all guessing and throw something completely different out there. Let's see what they get right now, as he's going to be on your screens. So, is this going to be the final game? Match point right now? No, they're going to keep the Barley and Sprout and Nina. I am very surprised by that, because here comes Semantic on Mortis. The Poco wasn't banned, and this is the comp that I was kind of semi-expecting from SK. You love to see it. So the Buzz, the Mortis, and the Poco, is this going to be the new meta?
Oh, this is not good, especially with the Poco as well, just helping Mortis out so much. And it's actually, it helps the Buzz massively, depending on how much on the frontline Poco is. It's Semantics just diving in here, takes out one. Almost takes John as well. Actually, Jetton is able to support that, but the objective almost got sneaked around by Melny. Skyrix will finally take him down. That's going to be map control here for SK, but they need to kind of sort themselves out a little bit in terms of structure, because coordination's in terms of positioning is not looking the best, but at the same time, Skyrix is there to put himself straight in, does a huge chunk of damage, but I don't think anyone's going to be able to clean him up, because Semantics already taken way too much damage on that Mortis, and Jetton also needs to try and back away. Oh, 53 HP.
Noble Elite doing a great job. There's the last goal coming through, but the problem is Melny has now been focused. John should be able to get the shot through. No! Comes from behind, Skyrix on him, and that is the danger of when you're separated. Yes, you could deal with the Buzz when you are as a group. Yes, you could deal with the Mortis when you are as a group. But when you start to get separated like that, when they're looking to make the plays, they just put themselves out there to be picked off.
John now just trying to keep that Mortis back. He knows how much damage he can do. Still keeping his distance at the moment, so Semantic's going to try the right lane instead. He's just trying to find every possible angle to be able to take one of these down. And I must say, Noble Elite did a great job just trying to shut him down. He tried every lane possible, just could not find an opening. And this is where it can cause a few issues. But this is where the Barley and the Sprout can excel here. As long as I don't get too close. And, well, as I say that, Semantic's already gone diving in here and managed to put a stop to that straight away. And this is what I spoke about earlier on, is John is super weak. Sky was trying to finish him off. He does not. And Semantic's gone back into that left lane. So we've got 15 seconds left. And the next question is, who's going to excel in this overtime? And you can see now Melny just trying to keep his distance once again, but Semantic's already there. It's going to take him a little bit of time to take him down. That's if he does manage to finish him off, as Melny's actually regained a lot of his HP. Semantic's still able to stay alive after all of that. And Jetton does clean out Melny.
This really should suits Noble Elite right here. This, with all the cover gone away, this should be Noble Elite, but they really didn't want to lose a player there, and then Melny gets caught out. Skyrix goes in, and this is the danger, because you are gonna get massacred if they can jump on you. It's almost enables the Mortis to get in even closer. The fact that the Buzz goes in, everyone panics, turns on the Buzz, and then Skyrix on the Mortis is just like, lol, I got 3 hits, boys, and absolutely runs through. So SK Gaming will take it in the end, 3-1. And when overtime kicks in, I was just like, okay, you just need to stay alive here, Nobility, stay alive. But they were getting picked off one by one, and you realize John just realized, throws the Bruce Bear down, the panic sets in, and they get picked off.
The fact that they had to deal with a Mortis as well, and the Poco just to keep him alive to continue being on the offensive. I'm surprised that didn't end sooner, in all fairness. And even with the Mortis as well, I must say, Nobility adapted very well, just making sure he didn't have any possible angles to come from around the halfway stage. But when he went to sudden death, that was literally it. That was pretty much game over for them. But, you know, bless them, they did their absolute best to keep him at bay, but it just was nowhere near enough, as Nobility only took a set against SK.
Yeah, I love the adaptation that SK brought into it. You know, with the Buzz, the first game, they struggled to do anything with it. Yes, he was getting in, but he was getting killed and popped. Add the Mortis on top, everybody focuses on one. You can't focus on both, and they will absolutely clear you out. Brilliant stuff. SK Gaming will take it. They are now on 10 wins. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, the next match will be ready to go.
ESL Mobile Challenge is brought to you by DHL and Pay Safeguard.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the ESL Mobile Challenge, and joining me this time round in the hot seat, it is the lovely Ark, of course. We've got another great matchup coming for you guys. It's going to be Clash versus Big, and I was having a little bit of a wonder, Ark, just to see what's going on in terms of the leaderboard. And I do feel like even though they are all around the same in terms of win rate, like going 7-6, of course, turning 1 earlier on, that's going to help them out massively. I kind of feel like if Big don't win this like 3-0 or 3-1, it could cause issues here, because it will come down to sets. It may come down to who beat who earlier on with the earlier play days as well. But we'll go back to that at a later time, later this evening, when we do confirm who will make it into the top 4, as we'll go to the here and now, starting with Clash versus Big. And as you can see, Clash have pretty much qualified at this point. They're going to be okay. They're laughing at this point, and we're going to see how much of a challenge it's going to be for Big, because Big were looking very good yesterday as well.
They were looking great yesterday. Yeah, I've got to say they were starting to get a stride on really, but like you say, going into today and the number 5th spot on our leaderboards, and Vexo Freedom still to play today. I think it's just the one game as well for Big, so they've really got to make this one count. And Clash is a fierce team. However, Nadine, Lars, and Equok. Equok obviously recently just coming into the mix on the roster side, and definitely shaking that up massively so, with some additional aggression. I've got to say, I feel like Clash are, and have been throughout this competition a bit of a front runner, but Big are gaining in that momentum and traction, and this could be their day.
Yeah, sadly for Big, in terms of leaderboard standings, the fate is not in their hands. If they win this, it's great, but they are behind in sets, which means that Na'Vi will have to do its duty to try and take down EXO later on, and that's if they can even be able to do that. But let's have a look at the maps and bans here. We've got parallel players, Hot Potato, Bot Drop, Hard Rock Mine, and Backyard Bar. But more importantly, we do have the bans, both from Ban Primo, which is not too much of a surprise, with the Gene and Bell as well.
Yeah, I mean, Gene is a band that we've seen time and time again, actually, from Clash. We saw it yesterday. They seem to be quite at home with banning that particular brawler. And yeah, Primo and Bell for Big. And the maps would cater to Bell. Pretty much, I expect to see Bell banned in every series today, really. But every now and again, you do see her, but not today. I think rightly so, parallel players being our first map, because ultimately that is going to be one where teams will be absolutely hunkering down. And normally, I would say, trying to use the healing puffs abilities from Gene, but Gene going to be banned there. So that's going to definitely make things interesting. I would expect to probably see a Nanny, Piper, and one other in that respect then as well. Hot Potato will be our second game for Heist up on the second set. Siege for Bot Drop, Gem Grab, Hard Rock Mine, and Backyard Bowl for Brawl.
I don't know why, but even though it's been a few weeks, I still laugh at seeing Primo be banned every time. Like, I still don't think it's like sunk in still, if that makes sense. It still just doesn't feel right, even though it's been so long now since the update slapped us across the face earlier on. But yeah, just a little update for you guys, because I know some of you are wondering, like, what's the circumstances for a lot of these teams, and how are Big looking at this approaching Clash in terms of how much do they have to win by, and if they do win, can they still qualify? I feel like, just looking at it, statistically from my point of view, Big can still win this, but I feel like even if they win it 3-0 outright, it won't make a difference to the standings. I still feel like EXO can be able to walk away with it and still win 3-2 against Na'Vi later on tonight. So right now, in my opinion, I feel like for Big, fate is in EXO's hands. So if EXO wins, that's them through straight away. And if they lose, then it's going to be for Big. So Big can't really make a difference in terms of how many sets they win by. They'll just have to win this and hope that Na'Vi beat EXO later on. So that's the only way Big can qualify here, I feel.
Yeah, Big are just going to have to make sure that they capitalize on every available opportunity. Yeah, I think the only thing I can really say for yesterday was simply the fact that EXO Free Agents did take that loss. That surprising loss, it must be said, against Noble Elite. So that could be their saving grace. I mean, again, though, Navi before yesterday were the only team in this competition who hadn't really had a single win, but were able to get one yesterday over Big. So there's those little stories on the other side of things which may come into play in that match between EXO Free Agents and Navi. From going back to weeks prior to this week, it would be fair to say that EXO Free Agents would have the upper hand in that matchup. But I gotta say, today I think that it could honestly go either way, which is the way that the stories are developing. But yeah, the one story that is going to remain a constant here is that regardless of what happens elsewhere today, Big really do need this win over Clash, or it could be their tournament journey over.
Do you know what's funny as well? Toda must be thinking, thank God we beat SK yesterday, because they would have actually been outside the running as well, possibly.
Yeah.
I would be in the same boat as Big here. But Nadina now trying to stay alive in that zone. He's got to deal with two of the players of Clash, and I'm not too sure how long he's going to last here. But it seems like Equal does come in to give him a hand. It does take down Chaos, as Lenan's going to be helping him as well, and Gia just in the zone with Lenan as well, as Equal does take down Gia, and Lenan also does an Equal fair, so does manage to get a nice start at the very beginning, but it doesn't change the fact that Big are up by 22%, and Nadine's just trying to bait Lenan out, which he does, but at the same time, it's not really helping him too much as Equok trying to push him with the stew. But Lars does take down Chaos here, so it's going to give him a bit of leadway here. So Equok takes down Lenan as well, and this is going to massively help Big.
Yeah, but down goes there, Equok, and he was doing great until then with support from Lars as well with just a turret, but now Dean really has got to hunker down and try to just juke around this wall to allow Equok to come back in for support. Pick up on the right-hand side from Lars will definitely make a big factor here, as now it's going to be a 2 versus 2 and Lenan low as well. That's actually going to be enough time for Big to take this zone, I think. Lars, yeah, and Equok going to come back into it. That's a great start for Big.
You know what Clash are like though, Ark? You know better than I do, actually. First game, it's like, what was that all about? And then they just adapt and then actually win by 50% themselves the next game round. It's just awful, isn't it? They are, when it comes to giving false hope to people, they are the best at it, aren't they? They really are.
Exactly.
So we'll see in this set.
Exactly what I said yesterday. It's always the case with Clash. They will always lose this first game. And you watch going into this next one, how they'll just up themselves and you know, step it up a gear. And yeah, I don't know whether that's, I think it's just not really anything to look too deeply into. I think it's just like maybe just warming up for the game. But yeah, they always do that. And I find it fascinating to watch.
It's just awful. It really is, but it's actually quite hilarious at the same time for us. But yeah, I still think like Clash played okay. They played fine. Individually, or just mechanically from Big's fun, they seem to do pretty damn well. They were baiting a lot of shots out. They were making sure to stay alive as much as possible, valuing their life, doing everything that's needed to be done in order to win by such a large margin as well. But I think, I can't remember which team did it. I think it was Noble yesterday did it. And then Clash were like, nah, you're right. And then just brought it straight back. And we're going to see now if Big can win this first set. As we mentioned it before, Big have to. And I say it's a must win for them. Because if not, it means that even if EXO lose against Na'Vi, I feel like EXO will still qualify anyway. Of course, we'll have confirmation on that later on. But Big, though, great start from them. Already up by 10%, just trying to put as much pressure on as possible. But it's actually Clash with the map control. It's just a matter of how they can push on up here. But they really can't at this moment. They've got a good setup here on that northern side. As Guille just trying to push in from the right-hand side himself. Lenan just pushing into the centre. Chaos has taken quite a lot of damage in that left lane. And Dean is trying to do a little bit more. He's actually focused on Lenan here, as Chaos is just out of range for him to flick anymore. But does get half done here, as Big is still up by 8%.
Well, Equok low in the middle. Good shots connecting then from Lenan. And Oil ignited on the right-hand side there by Lars, just to get rid of the speed zone and gadget. It's going to allow now Guille and Lenan to take the right-hand side zone and start to cap very important points here. Again, very much different to what we saw last time round. It was all the majority of that matchup, in my opinion, Big with the aggression this time round. Definitely it's Clash thinking things through just a little bit more, playing a bit more of the slow game and possibly communicating a bit more effectively as to how they want to play this one out. But already, you know, that's 25% almost on that top right-hand zone in their favor, and Big now have not got as much time to respond to this. It could be all over soon, especially with Gear hunkering down now with a turret, which is going to be a really big factor here for Equok to have to consider.
This is the adaptation we're talking about from Clash, and it looks like we did say that they won by 50%, so they're probably going to do the exact same thing. And look at the scoreline. Let's just stare at that blue bar for a minute, Ark. They've done the exact same thing Big did last time, the exact same scoreline, and just turn it around. It's just filthy, isn't it? It's just the way they did that. We even, you know, predicted it before it was going to occur. They do it every single time. Poor Big. But, you know, not poor Big as of yet, because all they've done is tied the set. They haven't won the set outright as of yet, but yeah, I must say that Big were holding on for a while. It was a lot more calculated in terms of the approach Clash made, but it worked out for them in their favour.
Yeah, Clash are doing what they often do, and they're just kind of reassessing and feeling out Big, really, kind of giving them a chance to maybe feel like they're in control, but then very quickly use the information that they've gathered from that last game and the Brawl ideas which they were facing up against, and just taking on board the general story and then throwing it back and seeing how Big can handle it. That time around, Big did not handle it great. They've got another chance, though, to respond. And yeah, they need to. They really do need this set.
How do they do it? It's just disgusting sometimes. Big, I hope they do, because like I said, I feel sorry for him because it's a must-win against one of the biggest teams here in the region, and the fact that it's time on this, game mode and this map in particular, we've seen them actually turn it around like they've done in the past on this exact game mode and this exact map as well. So the fact that they're doing it again just does not surprise me. They made a huge difference in terms of their changes in that last game. A lot better baiting switching. It wasn't as spread out. Worked together a lot better as well. Kept their distance, kept their range. They know their ranges very well, of course, and made sure they abused that to the best of their ability. And Lenan just been a real pain with that Stu. Equal was trying to do the exact same thing. Couldn't inflict that much damage, but managed to inflict a little bit more as Lenan was also trying to dodge out Lars as well. But Lars only left on such a tiny amount of HP, 315. Finally able to take him down, and it's just Nadine left standing in that right lane. We'll have to back away eventually, but Lenan still continued to pile on the pressure here.